Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to showcase some of the Editor's Choice Event Lab creations. So basically it means going to this tab in the Blueprint Events, which is where Playground Games editors have put together their favourite routes. Now some of these I have showcased in previous videos, particularly the one about the Golden Tank Award winners, so I'm going to skip past those and focus on the first 8 of these that I haven't looked at so far. And then, if you guys enjoy this one, I'll be back with a part 2 where we can go and look at some of these events further along. We begin today's Event Lab video with possibly the best named creation ever made in Event Lab, Bridge over Puddled Water, made by the one and only The Filthy Honey. As with most of the creations today, it's set to anything goes, so you can enjoy it in any car that you like. This particular blueprint is set to 5 laps. The route itself is based around the bridge over the river at the end of the airfield, which is a bridge never featured in the Bridges with Petrol series. It's a beautifully made route in a very unique style, which I absolutely love. However, the walls do like to stop you dead if you so much as brush them, so it wouldn't be ideal for any kind of competitive racing, but I don't think that's the intention of this route. Apart from being killed by a couple of walls, it was a lot of fun to drive. Next up is the Lodge Raceway, made by XR Cosworth. You may recognise this one from my recent video on the Hyundai i30M, but this wasn't an Event Lab video, so I'm still going to include it today as well. And just like the previous route, this is set to 5 laps and is anything goes. This is a realistic but fictional racetrack that I think would actually lend itself well to some close racing, although it is quite a technical circuit, so I'd recommend something a bit slower than the DBS that I used in today's video. I think maybe B-Class would be ideal for racing around this one. The third route today is the Horizon Apex GP circuit, made by Desasaurus. Despite being a circuit, this route is actually described as the ultimate point-to-point, so I think maybe descriptions have got a bit muddled between routes here. It's a bit of a long circuit, and this particular blueprint is set to 9 laps, so I got to thoroughly test it in order to get this replay footage. Again, this one is set to anything goes. To begin with, I thought this circuit was a bit too narrow in places, and a bit too technical and kind of fiddly, with slightly too many bumpy curbs which would unsettle the car quite a lot. But by the end of the 9 laps, it started to feel like it had a really nice flow to it, and it was a lot of fun to hot lap it in this Aston Martin. For racing, however, I don't think it would quite work, partly due to the lack of checkpoints preventing corner cuts and track extensions, so quite a lot of time could be gained by doing that, and some of the bumpy curbs would cause some death, I think, if any collisions or anything happened. We move on to the King's Court Grand Prix next, made by Skyark Z23. This route is a city circuit with some castly bits. It's apparently designed for the bad to the blade, with increased grip from modified torque and gravity settings to simulate being in a Formula 1 car. This took me a couple of laps to adjust to because I didn't actually read that part before I jumped into it. But once I did get used to it, it was a huge amount of fun lapping around here in a ridiculously grippy Aston Martin DBS. And having so much grip means that the rather long 10-lap blueprint was actually completed in pretty much no time at all. Just like all of the other routes so far, this is an anything-goes blueprint, so you can make any car you like, have all of the grips and downforces that you would like. This next route is brilliantly creative, open brackets Sci-Fi close brackets by Dexter4130D, is full of so many sci-fi Easter eggs, inspired by many science fiction films, and Jurassic Park. The route itself isn't exactly a smooth surface, but it looks stunning in this enclosed stadium, complete with the upside-down skyscrapers built from the ceiling downwards, and the flying vehicles looking as if there's kind of a zero gravity field around them. A lot of thought has clearly been given into what will be in your kind of peripheral vision when you're driving around here, and this one is also anything goes and 5 laps in length. From one route inside the stadium to another, SZ Stadium, made by Gabriel, is described as being designed for drifting and fun, which sounds most excellent. It does that very well as well. It's not trying to be a race route, it's kind of too tight and fiddly for that, and some of the inclines aren't quite gentle enough really, but for its purpose of just drifting around and having a lot of fun, it works really well. And visually it looks very good, especially the bit near the start line before you enter the stadium, with all of the neons and things giving a great effect as they always do. Again, this is set to anything goes, but this one is only 2 laps in length. Next up is the River Rail Rally, open brackets hot lap close brackets, by Lynx8209. This is an updated version of a route that I think I may have in fact driven before. I've certainly driven a very similar route along the canyon, just with added props along a more mixed surface route, which I didn't realise when I picked the DBS, like I did with the other routes. But if the Grand Tour took a DB9 across an incredibly sandy, deserty place, then why shouldn't I take a DBS along a gravel track and mixed surface route? Although this is technically built as a circuit, this particular blueprint is only set to 1 lap, so it's effectively a sprint route, and it's also set to anything goes, hence why I was able to pick a DBS for a mixed surface route. And last but not least is the Laderas core, made by Pinhead Larry, which is another stunning nighttime city route, complete with the obligatory neon lights everywhere. As with other nighttime routes, I absolutely love the effect that this produces. This blueprint is set to 3 laps and is the only route today that isn't anything goes. This one's set to just B class, so I opted for the Honda S2000, which I used last time I showcased a city nighttime route. And that is going to be all for today's video. As ever, huge thanks to all of the creators who have made such incredible routes that I've tested out in today's video. Do let me know your thoughts on all of them, and which one maybe is your favourite. And if you have your own creations that you potentially like me to show in a video, you can send them to me over on my Discord server, which is linked in the description. But for today's video, that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next one very soon.